Hey, hope you're having a great day. Today we're going to be going over what I read in July. I think I read 15 books. I don't know. We're going to see, but I'm going to go through just to preface this. This is every book I read. It's not book suggestions, it's just something that I read. I'll let you know if I liked them, didn't like them, DNF'd them, all that fun jazz. And of course, I'll give you my star review as well. So, to get us off started, is Smoking Gun by Lainey Lawson. This was a cute one. It's a cowboy romance. So, she is pretty much grew up in a trailer park, did not have a lot of money growing up, and so she thought the best way in order to improve her life and her family situation was to go and become a doctor, and she's going to make lots of money. And so she's pretty much a burnout student intern, and she's like, and at this point, I'm not even sure if she even wants to, continue on to be a medical doctor, because she's just like, I was really just doing this for the money. She ends up having that, being home in her small town for years and years since she's off in grad school. And so she ends up going home, and her brother works at this farm. And of course, she then starts to fall for her brother's boss. And a lot of things go down. There is a lot of elements because the male main character, I do like kind of touch her and die kind of thing like that, but it kind of got into this weird mafia romance because he came from a big family and he's running from what happened. I don't know. It was a good book. Would I read it again? Maybe, but I think it was still a good book. I think there's just a lot of themes in there, like it's cowboy romance, she's a doctor, and then there's some type of mafia vibes. I give it a 3.54 stars. I think it was still good. There's some good spice in it. I think it was fun. It did have a happily ever after, so I enjoyed that, but not my favorite book for sure. Next is Live Love Ranch. Again, this is a Western vibe. I didn't love this one. I just thought it was kind of boring. So she is from England and she has an aunt or something here in the US, and I believe it's in Montana is where this is based. But pretty much the great aunt dies. The main character, she literally, of course, she lives in England. She's this huge yoga instructor, huge influencer. She ends up finding out her boyfriend of several years had been cheating on her. Of course, her aunt dies, but then she inherits her aunt's farm in the US. So she really plans on literally coming to the US, packaging it all up, and trying to sell off all the land. She does not really want it. She's unsure of what to do with her life because she's so, distraught over the fact that she had, her boyfriend was cheating on her, and her great aunt, that one of her really, really close family members, had passed away. Well, the guy who has been running the farm to help out the great aunt, is there, and she kind of comes up with the idea that maybe I should make this a wellness retreat. And it's really, really cool how she does kind of interpret it in yoga and leadership. And it's really, really interesting, but it was just a really slow build. There is some spice and such, but it's still not the greatest book. I don't know if I'd necessarily suggest this book, but if it's your vibe, not super spicy, but it's got a little tang in there. Western vibes, kind of a grumpy sunshine, and I don't know. It was okay. I don't I don't know. Again, I don't know. Okay, next, The Wolf King. Oh, if you've not read this book, you need to read this book. So, if you loved the Outlander series, if you love Jamie Fraser, you're going to love this book. Scottish vibes, but werewolves. Literally, Werewolf Outlander is the only way to describe this. It is so, so good. This is the first in the series. I think the next one either comes out this fall or the beginning of next year. So, so good. Really well written. Like, it's a bit not necessarily a love triangle, but it gives you tidbits. The plot is really there. There is a little bit of spice, but the main point here is the plot. So it's werewolves live up north, and then all of the humans kind of live down south and kind of rule the roost. And they pretty much enslave a lot of the werewolves and make them fight each other to the death just for funsies. It's a little harsh, but it is what it is. And so she is this princess, and she's getting pretty much married off to this really, really bad dude, and she does not want to do it. Mayhem kind of breaks out in the castle this night after, watching all these werewolves get pretty much beat themselves to death. And she ends up escaping, and then the werewolves then kind of take her as their captive. And she's kind of at this point where either I go with them and be a hated human, or I marry this dude who is an alpha human being. And it becomes a little bit of a turf battle. There's lots of power plays going on in the werewolf world of do they take over the humans, and the ranking system of kind of where they're at. Super interesting. Again, Outlander vibes, but werewolves. So good. Highly suggest it. I cannot wait until literally book 2 comes out. I hope it comes out soon because I really enjoyed it. It was a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Next is Kenna's Dragon. So this is a monster romance. It's definitely on the spicier end. I really, really enjoy this author. I'm pretty sure I've read almost every single book of hers. I like it. Super fun read. It's like a rom-com. So pretty much all of these like fae and shifters and different like magical beings have come out to the world. And now this is technically a second in the standalone series, I believe. But they have this monster bureau relations, and they're kind of on the topic of like fated mates, because of course it no like normal people like have not heard about this. This is still new. It's only like a few years old of them like coming out to the world. And so when they find mates, like this is a big deal because it's a lifelong commitment and all this other stuff. But she starts working for this bureau. She's like had a really rough go at life. She's just trying to figure out what she wants to do and not pretty much just grow up. She's like ready to grow up. She's like in later 20s. She's just trying to figure it out. And then he is the director of the monster bureaus and monster relations bureau. And so he is like the CEO. So it's a workplace kind of romance, and he's a dragon shifter. Things happen. I liked it. It was spicy. The plot is always really good in Lee Mueller's books. So highly suggest it. This is a 5 out of 5 stars. I'd definitely read it again. Okay, Demon's Bride by Lee Mueller. This is the first in the series. The second one I'll talk about next. But this one is set, it is a romance. It's a monster read, if you know what I mean. It's got a little spice to it, but it's witches, demons. So back in the day, the demons used to have to take human souls in order to survive. And, the crossroads, very supernatural show vibes, if that makes sense, of kind of the demon's background. And then so they came to a point where like the humans are like, and the witches want to protect the humans, like you can't keep taking their souls. So they're like, we will help power you if you stay in your own realm. And so how they do that is the witch will go in and then marry a demon, and it's usually like every few years or something. They like train these super highly trained witches with the most magic that they have in them, and then send them over there, marry their demon, and then that somehow magical connection then keeps the realm open, and so they don't have to steal souls. And so this is a really, really cool dynamic. So follows the female main character, where she is just kind of, she's got like a little, what is she? She's a librarian. Excuse me. I'm like, it's not a bookstore. She's a librarian in like a school, and she's like kind of just very much disconnected from her coven. She's like several hours away. Doesn't necessarily want anything to do with them because she was written off as to having like zero to little powers, and she is like the daughter of like the magistrate, or like the, I don't know what you call it, like the high witch, I guess you could say. But yeah, so she is the daughter of her, and she's kind of written off. Well, ends up the Demon King comes through the portal, and it's like, hey, I'm here for my wife. And he is like looking around, and he's just like, and like the girls that was presented to him, he's just like, that's not my mate. He ended up knowing that like this woman was his mate, and like that ended up being the female character. And again, she was unprepared for any of this, but she had to make the sacrifice to then go into his realm and then try and live life. Again, she hadn't been prepared for this. They only took like the highest of the high, who had all this magic ability, and she really didn't have much at all. And so it was really cool. It's romance. There's super cool plot to it. It's very lots of twists and turns. It had me guessing what was going on. It is pretty spicy. Again, it's a monster romance, so just to put out there, I liked it. Definitely would read again, and I'm excited. Now, this next book is Demon's Bane. Now, same characters kind of trickle in throughout the story, but then this is based on a different couple. So she owns a coffee shop, and then like the high witch or whatever of the coven comes to her and is just like, I need your help, and is trying to like take care of something that's like happening like on the down low between the demons and the witches. Stuff's happening, and then she has to enlist a demon in order, because there's just kind of stuff going on in the demon world. And so they ended up, he recognizes her as a fated mate, but witches don't feel like the same at the, right off the bat, or understand what's happening. So he has to keep it to himself. But there's this huge plot. There's been lots of gems and things being stolen from the demon realm that was not supposed to be being stolen. And of course, and like that really, like, how do you say it? Like, makes the witches' powers more, and there's different things they can do with all of these different stones. And so it's kind of like a mystery of like who's taking it and why and how they have to stop it. It's super interesting. It is spicy, of course, it's a demon romance, but I really liked it. Of course, the other characters from the first book do come in, but again, I would read it. It was fun, definitely suggest. That was 5 stars again for me. Next is Throttled. I wanted to love this book, but I just didn't. This is an F1 romance. So she just graduated college. Her brother is an F1 driver. So she decides for the year that she's just going to pretty much hang out with him. He's, in this huge multi-millionaire contract, yada, yada, yada. She ends up falling for his arch enemy in the F1 field, and also it is his teammate at the time. I don't know. It was just a really slow build up. I mean, it was good, but when you think of F1, I think of like a high octane, like lots of drama, and it was just okay. It was cute. It was really slow build up. If you're really into that stuff, that's fine. And again, I really liked this. I really like this author, Lauren Asher, but it just was not for me. It was just okay, but I don't know. Read at your own discretion, I guess. So, The Love Hypothesis. So, this is a super fun story. I really liked it. I had originally read Love theoretically first, and I didn't realize you're supposed to read it first before The Love Hypothesis, but I really enjoyed it. So, it is what it is. But this one was really cute. I love the stem. I love the representation. It's super fun. It's super quirky. And I just really enjoy Ali Hazelwood books. So, this one, the main character, she is a PhD grad. She's just trying to get through grad school, and she's looking for funding, and her best friend at the time is wanting to go out with her, not necessarily her ex, but the guy she'd kind of dated a few times. And of course, girl code, you don't really want that. But in order for her to be like I really didn't go out with him that much. You guys obviously like each other, just go for it. She ends up saying, hey, like I'm already dating somebody else. And she literally kisses the first guy who she like sees ends up being a professor. And it is not like in the same realm. They're both like obviously have their PhDs and stuff, but it's like different types of PhDs, if that makes any sense at all. Like he's a professor, but not her professor. Does that make sense? So anyway, super cute romance. They end up, having this fake relationship. They do end up falling in love, and it's super cute. It's quirky. I enjoyed it. I would definitely read it again. I don't think it's as good as Love theoretically, but I do think it is a really good read, and I definitely suggest it again. Ooh, Icebreaker. Okay. So again, I kind of messed up the reading order of this one. I had read Wildfire, which is technically the second in the series before this one. And I don't think it necessarily made that big of a difference. But again, because they're about different couples, but there is a little bit of a crossover. And I think there's a little bit more of an understanding that I would have liked to have if I had read Icebreaker first. But anyway, Icebreaker, it was super cute. It's a hockey romance. She is a figure skater. She's training to, number one, just train for the Olympics. And he, of course, is the star captain hockey player. And something happens. And so they have 2 rinks for this college. One of the rinks gets destroyed, so now they have to share their time on the rink. So they're both super frustrated with each other, and this kind of love just starts to blossom. It's a really good plot. I think it is a little long-winded. I think there definitely could have been some things edited out a little bit, but I really enjoyed it. It ends up being a super cute romance, happily ever after, and it's just really fun. I definitely read it again. Highly suggest it. It's definitely a popular book. I don't know. I really liked it. Broken Pieces. I DNF'd this one. I got this one as an ARC, and I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get into it. So she's an artist, but of course, she wasn't making a lot of money, and she was trying to get a good income and things like that. So she becomes some type of like art curator and like runs museums and stuff. And then she ends up just kind of looking around, and she ends up kind of auditioning, and then end up getting the job of like some multi-millionaire artist dude. And it was just a really slow build up. It was like it would get hot and heavy and then it would stop. It would get hot and heavy and then it would stop. But I'm just like, I don't know. I think I made it like 20% in, and I just couldn't get into it. I don't know. I really thought I was gonna like it. It was boring. Meh. Read at your own discretion, I guess. Ooh, Night Shift. So again, I had literally seen this in Target a few times, and I kind of passed it up. I don't know why, if it was just because the book is like a bright pink. I don't know why that was just drawing it to me, but every time I either just kind of overlooked it, put it back, or just chosen a different book. But I finally read it because it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I freaking loved this book. It is a college romance. She is like the bookworm, like artsy major, writing, all that fun stuff, and he's a basketball star. it is just like the most beautiful book about your first love. And like, of course, they're young college kids. They make some miscommunication mistakes, but it's so cute. I don't know. I really enjoyed it. There is quite a bit of spice to it. I was not expecting that, but it was just so sweet. I really liked it. I don't know. I'd read it again. Like, this is what everybody would want, I feel like, their first love to be. It's a little chaotic, it's a little crazy, but it's a beautiful love story, and I just really liked it. Don't mind Kate, our little helper here. She's here for some snuggles and pets. And then the last thing I read is the 100 series. This is a 4-book series, and there is a show about it on, I think, Netflix. I think it was maybe originally on the CW. Anyway, I watched the show and I ended up not liking it. I was just like, why would anybody watch this? It got real crazy towards the end. I'm like, no, thank you. Okay. Well, I ended up reading the series. Oh my gosh, so much better. Do not watch the show. It does not stick to the books whatsoever, but the book is so good. Ugh, total sci-fi fantasy dream. So pretty much World War III happened. Everybody kind of like killed each other off on Earth, and so they got blasted into the space and have been living in space for like several hundred years now, waiting for Earth to be viable enough to live here again. And so what they do, because they're slowly dying on like the space station or something, they're losing air, they don't have much time left, they send 100 of the like juvenile detention people, I guess you could say, like people who have committed some type of crime. They're all under 18, and they sent them in this rocket ship down to Earth, and they're like, well, they put metal bands on them, and they're like, if you survive, number one, the way down there and live down there on Earth, we're all going to come down after you. And they're just like, see ya. Send them with like very minimal supplies. So they send them down there, and they end up living, but then they end up finding they are not alone. There were still humans here, and it's a huge, huge plot twist, and it's just like, it's something that kept me guessing. And actually, there's a couple different points of view, but my favorite character, funny enough, was Glass. And so you kind of got the viewpoint of both of following one of the main characters on the ground when she was sent down to Earth, and then the other girl of on the space station about what happens, how they're losing air, and how like it was a rush to get to the rocket ships to get down to Earth, because everything was failing and they weren't really telling the people that, but she had known because she was supposed to be down on there in the already on Earth, but she had kind of escaped, and it was a whole ordeal. But I think it was really, really fun. I would definitely suggest this series. It's a young adult. It's a quick read. I think they're all like under 300 pages or close to 300 pages. I really enjoyed it. I definitely would read them again. I think it was fun, and I really liked them. And yeah, that's what I read in July. I think it was a little well-rounded. Usually I have like months where I like read only like werewolves or just vampires or things like that. But I think I did like had Western, F1 romance, had werewolves, dragons, sci-fi. I don't know. It was a really weird month for me. But hey, I'm a mood reader. That is just how I work. So I don't know. I really enjoyed it. But I hope you guys had fun watching this video. I'd love if you liked that button. Of course, if you want to subscribe to get some more book reviews, book recommendations, I'm always posting some fun bookish stuff. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.